'Cause it's just loose lips. I chat better than I sing, so go ahead and enjoy.
Yeah, so we did a couple of, right in the early days of Facebook Live. This is before many of the actual broadcasters were doing this. Would you believe? I think that was like early 2016. We just started going live, and you realise that you reach, with some of those lives, we reached like hundreds of thousands of people that we would never have reached at 6 p.m. on the night on Channel 7. So I think there is that aspect of it. People's attentions are on social media through the day, and I think I was just quite excited that there was this platform that was being launched in Leeds and was actually going to really try and shake up what was on offer online in Leeds in terms of news. So that was the big draw for me, was the fact that, yeah, we've got this blank canvas of the internet and we can do whatever we want with it. And we've tried to, I think doing good videos and going live as soon as possible has been a big part of our sort of strategy for becoming known, and making sure that people know that when news breaks, that we're the first ones there, and we'll go live as soon as possible. And it'll be pretty polished as well. And we've got some broadcast skills in the team, so people will be able to see it properly and get a good idea what's happening.
How do you find filling or finding information while you're going live in that capacity?
So I think I'm giving him his due here, but Christian and other reporters can just be brilliant at talking and talking and talking, a bit like yourself. So they just find things to say. They describe what they're seeing so that people who aren't there get a better sense of what's going on. And then also he's got people feeding into it with information. So we might sometimes we get police statements through while we're live, and it's just a case of somebody literally pinging him a message and saying, "Oh, by the way, the police statement's through. We now know what this was, and here it is." And then he's reading it out. So there's sort of behind the scenes communication going on while he's live on the scene. So that's the way that we manage it.
How are you, because you both went from Made in Leeds to there, so I mean, this seems a lot more freeing for you. It seems a lot more creative for you in your expression.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant. Like you say, I think the similarity with Made in Leeds is I was part of the team that launched Made in Leeds as well. So we managed to make that from starting at nothing. But similarly with Leeds Live, the whole team started at the same time. And it's just been a crazy 2 years. And the difference is that you actually really do see the impact that you're having on people, because the audience grows and grows. The comments start coming in, and the interactions on social media, and people start telling you what they think about what you're covering, whether it's good or bad. And we listen to it, and we try to take it on board and look at better ways to cover stories and see if there's anything we missed, and just try to keep growing the audience and making sure that we're impacting as many people as we can do with the journalism.
Been from around the area, and obviously representing the city and championing stories from the city. Is this like your mecca where you want to see this grow into such a platform where it's the first resort for Leeds?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it makes it, the passion's there because I grew up in Leeds. I didn't know, like, there's so much of Leeds that I didn't know growing up. It's weird. You grow up in these little bubbles in little parts of Leeds. So I grew up near like Pudsey way. I live in an area now that I didn't even know existed when I went to university, because apart from the odd people that you meet at college that are from these parts of Leeds, you don't really sort of engage with how big the city is and the different types of people and communities. And I think one of the big things with my career being back in Leeds, in my hometown, is that, I've learned so much about the city. I happen to be from here. I know what it's about, and I know I know how important it is to shout about what Leeds is doing and trying to get us noticed, and so that sort of spurs me on to give it my all. And I think, yeah, I think we're onto something, because like I say, the audience is just growing and growing. So if we say that we reach 10 million people, that means that pretty much every person in Leeds is visited Leeds Live 10 times in a month, which is brilliant for us. So yeah, it's good.
I like the way as well that you utilize social media. So I see that you'll put things in like Leeds Facing, for example, and it feels like you're not hiding behind just being reporters or whatever. It really seems like you're engaging with the community and you're approachable. Do you think that that's one of the successes why you have this like connection as well?
Yeah, I think people sort of, it's weird because we get some people who comment on stories and they say, oh, you just got this from Facebook. That's not journalism. But it's like, hang on a minute, like the amount of the conversations that happen in communities and how aware people are of what their neighbours are doing that's so much more, part of everyday life now than it used to be, because of things like Facebook groups. So what we decided to do from the off was just engage with these little pockets of Leeds as quickly and in the best way as possible. And one way of doing that is by maybe, for example, one of our reporters got in touch with some of the Morley groups and just said, guys, tell me what's going on in Morley. I just want to know, like, what are the local issues, what's affecting you? And, people get in touch and say that some private parking companies charging us all too much to go and do a shopping, or, something so local like that, but it impacts so many people. So just, for us, engaging with as many of these communities as possible is the way to do it. And luckily we've got platforms like Facebook that we can use to do that. So we just use it as much as we can.
I think that that's powerful, me. And going back to like Made in Leeds, that's one of the things that I wish our side would have probably been able to do a bit more. You can always look back in hindsight, but that's what you want. You want your community to feel like it's been represented. That's it. And I feel like that's what people do get with Leeds Live. Yeah.
And it's funny, we took on a new staff member recently, and we said to her when she started, we said to her, we want you to literally go through and see where we've not been yet, see the communities that we've not covered yet, because you do miss certain parts of Leeds, and we just want to get across as many places and covering these big issues that matter to people locally as we can. So that's one of the challenges for the next few months, is just get in touch with these areas that we've maybe not done as much coverage with since we launched. But we're only 2 years in, is the other thing to remember, is we're literally 2 and a bit years in. And if you look at our competitors that have been around for hundreds of years, that's what we're up against. So it's going to take some time to become known in a lot of these communities. So we'll just keep plugging at it.
I think the way that you've risen, though, is very on trend with the current situation of how we interact with social media. So I think even though they've got the experience, I think you're ahead of it by how you're coming up through it.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got a team on Leeds, we've got a team of 6 or 7. And like I say, that the focus is completely on online. So there's no worry about, the only deadline is the one that we set ourselves for getting something on the site as soon as possible. So when that's the case, I think we can lead by example in terms of how best to do news online, and yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
'Cause it's just loose lips.